First introduced in 1975, the BMW 3 Series is the brand's biggest selling car, with more than 15 million units being delivered worldwide. 7 generations of this car were produced, and it quickly became a driver's favorite and a benchmark among other sedans. Throughout the years, the cars got bigger and bigger, and by the time the 7th generation was released, it has a longer wheelbase and it's bigger in width than an E39 5 Series. But despite that, this new car is lighter, stiffer, faster and nimbler than the car it replaces. Plus, it comes with some pretty impressive technologies and features. Oh, and the thing that's missing? It's 2 things actually. The new 330i is still missing 2 of its cylinders, I'm afraid. Other than that, it's good. It's very good actually. So let's discover this car in more detail. So this is the 2019 3 Series, and it's one of the most important cars in BMW's lineup, if not the most important. This new generation is up to 55 kilograms lighter, but at the same time it's longer, a tad bit wider, and the wheelbase has increased as well. As usual, you can get this car in various trim levels, and it's available with 2 engine choices and 2 transmissions at this time. More will be added later on. There's a 2-liter diesel engine that can be paired with either a 6-speed manual or an 8-speed auto, and the engine that's in the car I'm driving today, the 330i. It has a 2-liter petrol unit that's available just with the 8-speed automatic transmission from ZF. And it looks like there's no plans to add a manual to the 330i lineup, which is a real shame. But anyway, this car is a Sportline trim. It's finished in mineral grey metallic. It's not the most attractive 3 Series ever made, if I'm honest with you guys. The grille is too big for my taste, and all the other vents are kinda small compared to that. And speaking of the grille, it has some flaps in there. They're closed right now, and they stay like that for the car to be able to be more aerodynamic, but when the car needs more cooling, they open up so that they allow more air inside. This car also features BMW's laser light technology headlights, and you can spot that by the blue tint inside the housing. Moving on to the side, the car I'm driving today has 17-inch wheels, but don't worry, the Sportline trim comes with 18-inch that just look much better on the car than these. There's no more fake vents on the front fenders, and the Hofmeister kink has a bit of a 3D effect to make the car seem bigger than it actually is, because the door ends here, right? Not where this ends. And moving on to the back, you can see that the 330i has dual exhaust tips, real ones. And higher up we have the new and controversial stoplights. They have this very cool 3D effect to them, but for some reason this part over here is all black. Very Lexusy, so to speak. Is that even a word? I don't know. Boot space is exactly the same as in the previous generation, which is good. And I think that's kind of it for the exterior. Let's see what the car looks like on the inside. The interior is all new. Well, it's all new if we compare it to the old car, as the new 3 Series is the 4th car in BMW's current lineup to feature this interior. I personally don't mind the old one. I actually prefer the steering wheel to this one, but I can't deny that this is a significant upgrade to the 3 Series, especially if you consider the price. You have a digital instrument cluster, a touchscreen infotainment system that's very easy to use, and quite good quality materials throughout the interior. The seats are excellent, you have a very good driving position, and there's plenty of space inside to carry around your family. Basically, you're getting an 8 Series interior for half the price. But enough of that, this is a 3 Series and it's time to talk about one of its strongest points: the driving experience. So, a 2-liter engine at the front with 258 horsepower, 6 more than the outgoing model, and 400 Newton meters of torque. An 8-speed automatic transmission in the middle, and drive goes to the rear wheels. If you want an X-Drive model, you have to go for the 320D, which can also be spec'd with all-wheel drive. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour takes 5.8 seconds, and well, that makes this car pretty fast for a regular 3 Series. Power delivery is smooth, although there's significant turbo lag below 2000 RPM, but the engine doesn't really run out of puff until it reaches the red line, which is at 6000 RPM. And it sounds pretty good as well. But because this is the second generation where the 330i is a 4-pot, I have to reiterate the fact that it's just not as exciting as the old 330i's. It is an effective engine though, because without 2 cylinders and with the help of 1 turbo, it's faster, much faster actually, than the old 330i's. And I also think that the lack of a manual transmission, which is supposed to be totally overhauled for this generation, makes this car less exciting to drive as well. I mean, don't get me wrong, the 8-speed ZF automatic transmission is very smooth around town and it's very fast to shift when it's in sport mode, but I really do think a 330i would work much better with a manual transmission. As a former owner of an F31 3 Series, the last generation touring, I welcome the improved steering in this car. I don't think they've improved on the feedback you get from the road. That's still lacking, unfortunately, but the overall feel of the thing is much better. It's more precise, it's more weighty in your hands at higher speeds, and gone is that center dead zone area. Let me explain. On the old 3 Series, when the steering wheel was dead center and you tried to steer a few degrees left or right, that didn't have any impact on the wheels. They literally didn't turn if you only had small inputs like that on the steering wheel. It was really annoying and I'm really happy they've addressed that problem. The suspension is also improved compared to the old car. It's less crashy than before and it feels more refined in the way it handles bumps on the road. That being said, it's still on the firm side of things. Even though this car is riding on 17-inch wheels with a quite big tire sidewall, you can still feel every imperfection in the road. But like I said, the suspension doesn't feel like it's gonna break loose from the car every time you hit a pothole, but you will feel the bumps in the road more often than not. Now on to the things I don't really like about this car, and the first item on the list is the lane keep feature this car has. As soon as you touch a white line with a wheel, the system tries to steer the car in the other direction quite aggressively. And if you're unexperienced behind a wheel and you're driving on a road with narrow lanes, the system can literally throw you into oncoming traffic. And the second thing is the traction control of this car. That's also very restricting. Yesterday I tried to do a 0 to 100 kilometers per hour acceleration test to film for you guys, and the traction control was so intrusive that I thought the car went into limp mode. I felt like the throttle wouldn't go beyond 3000 RPM or something like that. But after trying it again, I noticed that the traction light was flickering all the time. And I do understand that this car is equipped with winter tires and the temperature outside was about 8 degrees or so, but still, that's too much if you ask me. So how to sum up this car then? Well, as a former owner of the old 3 Series, I'd say this car is a huge leap forward. The car just handles better, it rides better, and this interior is absolutely stunning. And I just don't see how these cars competitors can catch up now. But that's been it for today's video, my friends. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you so much to my friends at Bavaria Stockholm for delivering every single time and getting me into these new cars as soon as possible. I really do appreciate that. Please give this video a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed for plenty more videos to come. And until next time, take good care of yourselves and I'll see you around.